Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into something quite specific, but really important for business owners. This growing trend of using modern trust for holding companies.
That's right.
You're here because you want the insights, fast and clear. So think of this as your shortcut to understanding why this is happening and, well, what it could mean for you.
Exactly. We've gone through quite a bit of material for this article. It's a pretty detailed video, too, all looking at the hows and whys of using trusts like this.
So the mission today.
Simple, really. Figure out why trusts are becoming the go-to structure here and what the core benefits are for business owners like you listening right now.
Okay, let's just jump right in then. When we say trust in this business context,
Yeah,
what are we actually talking about, practically speaking?
good question. Because trust can mean a few things. Here, though, think of it as, a legal structure, a sort of protective box.
Okay.
You, the business owner, you put your business assets, often held within a holding company, into this box, and it's managed by someone you choose, the trustee. And that trustee has to manage it for the people you've named the beneficiaries, following the specific rules you laid out in the trust agreement.
Gotcha. So the holding company isn't separate necessarily. It could be inside the trust.
Absolutely. That's often the key. A holding company, its main job is just to own other things, other companies, assets.
Mm-hmm.
When you put that holding company into the trust structure, well, you create something really quite strong. The holding company centralizes the ownership, and the trust adds this layer of protection and future-proofing.
Okay, this is where I think it gets really practical for people. Why make this move? What are the big draws?
Yeah, there are several big drivers behind this trend. Let's start with maybe the most obvious one, asset protection.
Ah, okay.
Pretty much all our sources highlighted this. Trust can offer really strong protection for business assets.
So let's say one part of your business gets sued. The trust acts like a firewall, maybe, protecting the other assets.
Precisely. That's a good way to put it. Because the trust legally owns the assets, not you directly or even the holding company directly in that sense.
Right.
It makes those assets much harder for creditors or, litigants to get their hands on. That separation, it's vital. It speaks directly to that worry every owner has about risk.
Yeah, protecting what you've built makes total sense. What about looking ahead? Succession planning, passing things on.
That's another huge one. Estate and succession planning. Several sources really emphasize this point.
How does it help there?
Well, trusts provide a very clear, very structured way to pass the business ownership along to the next generation or whoever you've chosen. The trust document itself spells out exactly who takes over, when, under what conditions. And crucially, unlike a will, assets in a trust often avoid probate court.
So it's quicker, less hassle.
Generally, yes. Faster, potentially cheaper, and often more private than the whole probate process.
And I guess that helps avoid family arguments, disagreements over who gets what or who's in charge. What?
Exactly. By setting out those clear rules in advance within the trust, you really minimize the potential for disputes down the line. It smooths out the handover, which is just critical for keeping the business going strong. Think of it like a detailed instruction manual for the future.
Okay, so protection now, clear path for the future. Makes sense. What about the money side? Taxes.
Good.
Any big advantages there?
Oh, yes. Tax planning and efficiency definitely come up a lot. Trusts can open doors for potentially lowering estate taxes.
Okay.
And also for managing how income is distributed, sometimes even deferring capital gains when assets go into the trust, depending on the type of trust and, the jurisdiction.
So lowering estate taxes,
Mm-hmm.
that could be significant for keeping more of the business value with the family or heirs, right?
Absolutely. Certain types of trusts, especially irrevocable ones, can effectively remove assets from your taxable estate. That can mean potentially very large tax savings.
And the income distribution part,
Yeah.
how does that work for efficiency? Can you give a simple example?
Sure. Imagine the holding company makes a profit. The trust structure might allow you to distribute some of that income to beneficiaries, maybe your kids, who are in a much lower tax bracket than you are personally.
I see.
So the overall tax hit on that income across the family or beneficiaries could be lower. It's about having that flexibility to manage income flow smartly from a tax perspective.
Okay, that's clever. Now, control is always a big thing for entrepreneurs. If I put my business into a trust, am I giving up control? Do I lose the final say?
That's a really common and important question, and the answer is generally no, not necessarily. Trusts are actually quite flexible, which is one of their strengths. As the grantor, that's the person setting up the trust, you can often keep a lot of influence.
How so?
You define the rules, remember. You can specify who benefits, when, how the business should be run. You can even set conditions beneficiaries have to meet. And often you can appoint yourself as a trustee, at least initially.
So I could be the one managing it day to day, even though it's technically in the trust.
In many setups, yes. You maintain operational control while still getting the protection and the planning benefits of the trust structure. It's not a rigid, locked box you can't touch.
So it's really customizable then.
Yeah.
Tailored to what I want for the business.
Precisely. That's the beauty of it. The trust agreement, the deed. It's a powerful document you can craft to meet your specific goals for the business, for your family, for your beneficiaries. It's highly adaptable.
Interesting. What about privacy? Is that a factor people think about?
It can be. It's usually not the main reason, but trusts generally offer more privacy than, say, a standard corporation.
How come?
Well, the details of a trust agreement aren't typically public record in the same way corporate filings might be. So for owners who prefer keeping their business and financial affairs a bit more discreet, it can be an added bonus.
Makes sense. Discretion is often valuable. Okay, shifting gears slightly, growth. Can this kind of structure actually help attract investors? Seems a bit indirect.
It is a bit indirect, but yes, it potentially can. Think about it from an investor's perspective.
Okay.
Seeing a business that has a clear, well-thought-out plan for leadership succession, for how profits are managed long-term, which a trust helps provide that signal stability.
Right. Reduces risk in their eyes.
Exactly. It shows you're thinking long-term, you have a solid vision. Investors like that. They look for businesses that are well-structured and have clear plans for the future, especially around leadership.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Stability is key for investment. And I think I saw something mentioned about employee benefits too. How does that fit?
Yeah, that's another potential use. Trusts can be set up to manage employee benefit plans.
Like retirement plans or something.
Could be. Or other ways to reward key staff, maybe give them some sort of stake or benefit tied to the company's long-term success, managed through the trust.
Yeah.
It can be a tool for, fostering loyalty.
Wow. Okay. So it's quite versatile. We've hit on protection, succession, tax, control, privacy, even attracting investment and rewarding employees. Can we maybe paint a picture with a couple of general scenarios just to see it in action?
Sure. Let's imagine an owner. She's built up a business with, say, 3 different divisions. They're all under one holding company, and that holding company is owned by her trust.
Okay.
Now, let's say, unfortunately, one of those divisions gets hit with a massive lawsuit. Because of the trust structure, the assets of the other 2 profitable divisions held within that same holding company in the trust are potentially shielded. The lawsuit against one part doesn't automatically jeopardize the whole enterprise.
That really shows the power of that asset protection firewall.
Exactly. Now, think about succession. Picture a family business. The founder's getting ready to retire.
Common scenario.
Very. By using a trust, they can clearly lay out, okay, daughter takes over as CEO, son manages operations. Maybe there are rules about how major decisions are made, how shares are distributed if someone wants out. It's all defined.
Preventing those messy family feuds we sometimes see.
Precisely. It provides that clear roadmap, avoids ambiguity, and hopefully keeps the business and the family intact during a tricky transition.
And one more, maybe illustrating the tax side.
Okay, think about passing the business value on. An owner wants her kids to inherit the company she built. By using certain trust strategies, she might structure the transfer over time or upon her death in a way that significantly minimizes the estate tax burden.
Meaning more of the actual value stays with the kids, not going to taxes.
That's the goal, preserving the legacy and the wealth built up in the business for the next generation.
Okay, this paints a very clear picture. So if we boil all this down, what are the absolute key takeaways for someone listening, maybe running their own business or thinking about a holding company?
I'd say the main message is that these modern trusts, they offer this really powerful toolkit for business owners. It's a combination.
Right.
You get robust asset protection from, the unexpected bumps in the road. You get real opportunities for smarter tax planning both now and for the future. And you get a solid framework for succession, making sure the business outlasts you.
And critically, it sounds like this isn't just for the giant multinational corporations, right?
Oh, absolutely not. That's a key point. These strategies, while they sound complex maybe, can be incredibly valuable for businesses of many different sizes. Any business looking seriously at long-term stability, protection, and planning should probably be aware of these options. It's about proactive management.
It really does seem like a proactive approach to securing the future. This has been super insightful. You can really see why this trend is happening. It's about building something that lasts.
It is. Understanding these structures, it's becoming more and more important, I think. It gives you that peace of mind, knowing you've put plans in place to protect what you've worked so hard for and planned thoughtfully for where it goes next.
So the final thought for you listening, considering your vision for your business's future and who you want to benefit from all your hard work, what first steps could you maybe explore just to start thinking about ensuring its lasting strength and security? Something to ponder. That's it for this week's Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.